The program is focusing on child's rights programming because this is one of the mandatory perspectives of the new Civil Society Strengthening Program 2022 to 2026, which is funded by CEDA. So basically it's just to take partners through this process of them understanding what child's rights programming is, understanding the concepts of child's rights programming, and how, for instance, as civil society partners, they can, put in deliberate actions to really strengthen a programming which is focusing on children's human rights, but also them as actors to be able to support system strengthening, but also finally building the capacity of children as actors in their own rights to take actions to ensure that violations against children and children's rights are respected. So basically that's what we've been covering, but obviously we covered human rights, really just taking our partners through the human rights framework and then zeroed in on child's rights, focusing on the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. So far what I see is that there are opportunities for civil society partners to be able to understand how to conduct child's rights situation analysis. This is a very key approach in understanding the issues that affect children, the violations, and also to understand what is the role of government, what is their role, what is the role of community structures, including traditional and religious leaders. So really mapping up who else has a role to play in ensuring that children's rights are respected in Zambia, but also in the communities where they are actually programming from. I think what Zambia has done with the enactment of this new law is to go over and above and ensure that all the pillars, all the 4 principles of children's rights are upheld. So for instance, the right to survive and development, like just unpacking those rights, the best interest of the child, so that in whatever actions that the government or any adult does, it has to be in the best interest of the child. And then thirdly, looking at giving due weight to the views of the child, which is also called the right of the child to participate. This is a very key principle, but it's also a right in its own, in that children need to be listened to, and their voice or their views on a particular issue need to be given due weight. In that way, we are also providing space for children to give their views and also to inform decision making, and that is critical. And then the 4th one is really looking at non-discrimination. We see that discrimination happens at different levels in this country. So how can, as civil society partners, they begin to actually, interrogate forms of discrimination that are happening, those children that are affected or are affected by exclusion or inequality, how can they bring them to the fore? How can they program, try to target to ensure that those are not left behind? So really this is around sort of the focus of the training in terms of looking at how this new law can help them to really implement, because government has set itself up by making sure that it puts this law in place, and it's up to civil society to complement government by making sure that these violations that continue to happen every day, can sort of be curtailed. Because I think what sort of perpetuates child's rights violations, sometimes it's also ignorance, also people not knowing the implication of their actions on children. And also people don't know the reporting mechanism. So all those things have been spelled out by government. And so civil society can complement by making sure that people know where to report, how to report, who is responsible, and the penalties therein. So for me, I think it is coming at the right time when we hear violations day in, day out. So civil society have a role to really play and ensure that children's rights are respected and promoted.